is Greg. My online handle is going to be fingerguns pew pew, as you can see right here from my in-game Gwent name. Ignore the rank. I know that I am not pro rank, and that's probably going to make some people automatically not going to want to watch the channel. But I have only been playing for about a month, so before I push for pro rank, I wanted to make sure that I got enough cards in my collection to build respectable decks for a few factions. But I enjoy playing my own decks. The faction I'm going to be playing tonight is going to be Nilfgaard. I made a deck that is intended to be anti-greatsword, but we're going to see how that works out. I've played it on ladder for a little bit, and it seemed to work out alright. I know Renew is not a popular tech option right now because it's a little bit pricey, but this deck has done really well against just about everything. Great swords especially, because I've been seeing them maybe 30 to 40% of the games that I've been playing. But let's go through the tech here. Alright, so you have Renew. The main uses for Renew are going to be trying to get your Damien or your Vadier de Rideau back out of the graveyard. Also, I mean, you know, a Sweers can come in handy every once in a while, but really those are the main targets. You got your Royal Decree, because obviously it's just good for making sure you pull these two cards, which the deck is very centered around, because they accomplish about the same thing. The Damien can pull an extra target with Enslave, and we run two Petrie's filters because, you know, it's about a half meme deck, so that's the best way we're going to be able to make sure that we can get our Damien and our Vadier to go off before the opponent can do anything about it. You'll be surprised how many rounds you win with the Vadier and the Petrie's filter just from blocking stuff with these low level cards we have down here. Oh, hold on a sec. Sorry, the baby's crying. Sorry about that, guys. I'm also a pretty new dad as of December, so that's definitely going to be a thing in my channel. Sometimes the baby's going to cry. I'm going to have to stop and give her a pacifier or a bottle, because babies do not operate on logic and they will throw a fit. Oh, yep, I know you guys know. I don't know if you can hear her or not, but she is extremely unhappy. Give me just a second here. Hey, take this. No, 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 no. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh. Yep, I know you can hear that one. Okay, alright, we're gonna pick her up. We're gonna hold her while we're doing this, because that usually seems to be the best option to get her to simmer down a little bit. Okay, other tech cards we have Yennefer's Invocation, because I'm playing Nilfgaard, and obviously I'm going to play Yennefer's Invocation. We have Sweers, because this whole deck is kind of like a Mimi, I'm going to take everything you have and use it against you kind of strategy. We have a Menno Cohorn in here, because we're also running a lot of tactics to get the extra enslave points. We can enslave 5. Also, as I explained a minute ago, we have these Petrie's filters. They're going to allow us to make sure that we get our Vadier and Damien off before the opponent can react. Vanamar is pretty good, considering we're running 4 lock cards down here, and we want to make sure that Vanamar is just a good low cost card that can get us a lot of points, because we can lock stuff and they might not purify because they don't expect anything to happen after that, but we can either steal it with the Vadier or we can kill it with the Vanamar. We have Experimental Remedy, because honestly we needed to fill in tactics, so these two cards right here were mainly for the reason of getting us up to Enslave 5. Assassination, kind of the same deal. Assassination's a really great card, but the main purpose was that we wanted to have enough tactics to make sure that we can enslave 5. Alb-Armored Cavalry, we can deploy melee lock an enemy unit. We have 2 of these, and then we also have these as our locks, or bleedings if locks are not useful. We have an Ardfane Crossbowman, because we have a decent amount of soldiers here in our bronzes. We've got 4 outside of the Crossbowman, but usually I've found that opponents will waste some damage on this to remove the barricade so that they don't keep getting pinged, and that's kind of just a good distraction considering we're only running the 4 soldiers to hit with it. The Master of Disguise is good because we're running 4 locks, and again, like, lock is very important to this deck. As far as the, what are these called again, stratagems go, we're running Collar because, again, lock, very important to this deck. We can destroy or steal lock targets a lot easier than we can unlock targets. So let's go queue up here and hope that the baby's going to chill for a second. We can see what we are going to get into on the ladder. Hold on, Brianna. Simmer down, simmer down. Hey. And I know a lot of people will only watch streamers with cameras. I'm kind of guilty myself. Like, I generally only tend to watch streamers if they have the camera because it makes it easier to connect with that streamer. You know, I get it. I am in the process of buying a camera, but I do not have one right now, but I just recently decided that I wanted to start streaming. So I thought I'd run a couple games to test and see what you guys thought, see what you wanted out of the content. My goal for the channel is going to be to make my own decks and kind of provide Gwent content that's not just people playing hyper-optimized decks in pro rank. Okay, so we don't need 2 Van Moorlam Hunters here. That's just obvious. The Yennifers I really like in round 1 pretty much always. We have our 2 key cards, which I'm going to throw away the Vadier because we have the Royal Decree if we really need it. So I'd like a little bit more of an opportunity to allow for some proactivity. And Imperial Diplomacy was a good pull after that. Definitely no complaints there. Alright, we have got a Wagenberg. That, I know that's a... This is really early, but... Oh, boy. Well, that is going to be a Yennefer's Invocation for certain. Hopefully he's one of those scummy caretaker decks that we all know and love. Because if so, then he is about to have a bad game. Okay. We do not have a Petrie's filter to lay down to be able to make sure that we can do so. Oh, I accidentally... Wait, hold on. Oh, I threw away... I kept the Damien and threw away the Vadier. I'm an idiot. Yeah, I do that kind of stuff sometimes. Alright, well, we're just... This guy's got 2 Wagenbergs. I'm not even sure what this dude is going for, but... We're just going to throw a lock on this. Do we want to use the Armored Cavalry? Yeah, I suppose so. Just in case he has another one to throw out. Alright, so this is good. We're going to go ahead and enslave that Trebuchet. And I'm not sure if he can stop the Damien, but we're gonna force him to do exactly that. Or are we? Now, you know what? We're gonna go ahead and Swears a Wagenberg here also. Definitely feel like this dude did not expect this round to go like this, considering that he blew his leader ability and siege right off the bat, but we are in an absolutely commanding position. Sorry, as you'll notice, I spam click sometimes. I just get a little bored whenever my opponent takes forever and a day. So we also have a Vanamar in our hand. We're planning on using that on this reinforced Trebuchet because it has a shield and 12 effective health thanks to the armor. Oh, that is... Oh, feels great for that to come out. Oh, and we high rolled. Take the armor. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Alright, well, just to get way ahead on him here so that we can try to win on even with having used his leader ability, we're going to go ahead and Vanamar that. I could have played the Master of Disguise, but okay, yep, he has had enough for this round. I'm really glad he blew both Wagenbergs because that's a pretty annoying card for our deck, really. Okay, well, you know what? I guess since we have the Imperial Diplomacy, we're gonna get real scummy with it here. We're gonna throw away that Master of Disguise because we're not planning on playing it early. Don't need 2 of those. Alright, that's a good card to get. Nice. Poor fella. Not even going to know what hit him. You know what? Just for the sake of finishing both chapters in the siege, we might play the Menno Cohorn right here into a third siege engine. Yeah, of course we don't hit one. Well, it was a nice thought.
For king, for country, for freedom!
We can experimental remedy anyway to ensure that we get one. Wow. Okay. Yeah, definitely use all those bombardments. That works for me.
Nothing will stop us.
My prescription.
I'd have liked to experimental diplomacy, but this is a guarantee, so this guy is just in for a world of hurt here. We're going to Petrie's Filter next turn. We can battering ram if we need to, but the intent here is we're going to Petrie's Filter because I plan on playing the Damien this turn, or I can lock something and play the Royal Decree into my Vadier. Sorry, I don't know the card's name because I just made this deck like not too long ago. Okay, so Petrie's, yes sir, you bet. We are not going to use our battering ram because we're going to steal that next turn. That's the plan. And we'll just take that extra armor, 100%. Okay, yeah, you love to see it. Ballista is a very low tempo card, so we're gonna go ahead and boom, boom, enslave this bad boy right here. Go ahead and pop this. Really, I'm not sure how I want to play this from here on out. This is where we're up by 19. He's going to have to play something that's high temp. Nope. He doesn't. He does not. Okay. Well. Oh, I really don't want to assassinate this, but I played like an idiot. I could have Damien here so that I could make sure the Alba Spearman got enough to take out another ballista that he drew, but I did not because I am not the smartest Gwent human being on the planet here. So we are just going to assassinate that, I think, because we really don't even want to give them those 2 points, do we? Nah, you know what? Alright. We're gonna give them those 2 and save our assassinate for a potentially more dangerous target. Let's see what he's got here. I feel like he'd have done something about our mantlet by now if he had any damage in his hand. Oh, so what I really want to do is I want to Royal Decree into the Vadier and try to end this game right here and now. But I'm not going to get that greedy yet. I'm going to assassinate this, give him one more turn to prove that he can do something. Okay, a battering ram. Yeah, okay. We're gonna go for the Vadier here. It's not gonna be our highest unit, and it's a potentially game-winning play. I should have played it in between these two. Nah, actually, I guess it doesn't matter playing against Northern Realms. Disregard. But he definitely better have something to remove this Vadier, or this game is super over. Yep. Okay. Well, that's just gonna be the W right here. We're gonna lock this, and we're gonna steal with the Vadier for a 10-point swing. That's what I love about this deck. It really seems to have that surprise value because it's kind of a lot of unusual cards. Vadier I've seen maybe twice on the ladder, and you don't see a lot of people running Enslave, so it's a really fun one to try out. could definitely recommend it for anybody that already has the cards or has some scraps to blow. I'm not going to say it's a tier 1 deck or anything like that, but I have played it, and I've probably, out of 10 games, have won maybe 7 of them, and have played my fair share of tier 1 decks and seemed to fare pretty well. Like I said, it was designed to counter the Greatswords meta, but we queued into Siege Nilfgaard, or no, sorry, Siege Northern Realms, and I'm assuming that guy was Caretaker based on the low provisions of his remaining cards, but we just rendered his Caretaker useless because Yennefer's Invocation. So if scenarios continue to be a problem in this patch, then it's gonna be extra strong, making sure you run Nilfgaard for that Yenvo. And the fact that it's really good against Skellige now is huge, because I don't know if you guys have played Skellige since the patch came out, but as you can see, I've made 4 decks since it came out, and 2 of them are Skellige, and that's for a good reason. I'll go over these decks real quick with you guys, just in case you're a little more interested in the other stuff that I have in my list to play, but you'll see these in the future. So here's the second win Skellige list. It's got that Greatswords, and a little bit of a different tech that I like compared to some of the other people is I run a Dagger Sigurdrifa's package, because I find that it's super annoying that you get 2 daggers if they don't steal it with Enslave or Vigo's Muzzle. Oh yeah, by the way, Vigo's Muzzle I originally had in that Nilfgaard deck, but it was too high provisions, and you don't need it because you already steal a lot of stuff. But okay, I've got the Hemdall Wild Boar of the Sea. I think are pretty standard in this kind of deck, as well as Morkvarg. I've got the Royal Decree, but got the dagger, and then Sigurdrifa's for the double dagger. Obviously, you're not going to want to use this for Morkvarg or Wild Boar or Hemdall because you don't get the deploy effects. That's the main reason to play those cards. Crow Mother, because it's just such an amazing card right now. It plays for 8, and you get carryover for 4 every time you play an alchemy card, which we have Delirium, Gigascorpion Decoction, 2 Freya's Blessing, and is that it? I thought we had one more. Yeah, I guess that's it. But that's enough that you end up getting it back almost every round, in my experience. Grimace, again, you can purify defenders, and this is just a standard Skellige card right now. It's so much value. Like, it's a 6 for 7 at absolute worst, but at best it can win you the game by purifying a defender, so you can't have a Nilfgaardian opponent get off at Damien or Stefan. You got Delirium and Gigascorpion because they're alchemy cards, and they are 1 point for 1 provision, and just good in general. Gigascorpion really comes in handy a lot of times to make sure your opponents can't get a card that's really necessary for their deck to function on the board and get it to stick, unless you're running like against Imperial Formation Nilfgaard or something. 2 Freya's Blessings, mainly to bring back the Greatswords, because, you know, Greatsword is a card. By the way, they still did not fix the bug with this, where the rain, if it hits 1 unarmored target and 1 armored target, will give you 2 points on the Greatsword. So it's definitely going to be a powerhouse this patch. We've got 2 Dim Moonlight Longships, because we want to get those out before the Greatswords, so that we can maybe buff it up enough to not get hit by an Assassinate and taken out, or a Tourney Joust. Really, there are a lot of cards. There's a card with the Arrakis Swarm Monsters deck. I don't remember what the name of it is, but I'm sure somebody in the comments can help me out, that can take out an unbuffed Greatsword. Really, there's a lot of things that can do 4 damage, but the point of these Longships is to get that out immediately so that the opponent can't just insta-gib it. We don't run Avalok. Most decks run Avalok when they're running Greatsword, I've found. But after the nerf to only being 3 points and it's 10 provisions, I really just feel like the card is super overrated personally, and it's not worth it. We run 2 Corsairs because we have 4 ships, and it's just a good card in general. Even if you only get 1 bleed on, it plays at 1 for 1. We run 1 Trophy Catch. A lot of decks, well, I won't say a lot of decks, but I've seen a few streamers running Hammond at 8 provisions to move defenders out of the way as an alternative to Grimmist, but we've opted for Trophy Catch because it's cheaper, and I didn't want to spend that much for Hammond Trophy catch is going to be dead sometimes. I definitely understand that and accept that, but that was a trade-off to being able to get all of this top end in the game and to be able to get our Sigurd Dreyfus combo. So I feel like it's a good trade-off because Dagger is just a potential game-winning play when you can get a second one or a third one with your leader ability. And then also we have 2 stunning blows, again pretty standard because it's a low provision, potential 7 damage. At worst it trades 1-to-1 and it's removal. Pretty staple card for Skellige decks right now. Savage Bear also, same kind of deal, it just is a good bronze card for us to fill our deck with at 4 provisions. I looked for a little bit at 4 provisions, and I couldn't find anything, so I just kind of settled on Savage Bear. I know on my discard list that I'm going to go with in a minute here, there's some other stuff that I put in my decks because, well, that's a totally different strategy, but let's get to that. So this Phoenix nonsense was from last patch. It was a meme deck that somebody posted on Reddit where I'm not going to go too in depth here, but basically you play Phoenix and then you play Caranthir, and then you just try to get out like Caranthir and an extra one with Death Shadow to get Phoenix as many times as you can, and then you blow everything in round 1 to try to get like 4 Phoenixes on the board and have 16 points of carryover, because obviously that's just absolutely backbreaking and it's pretty ridiculous. A lot of the time it doesn't work, but when it does, oh man, it's fun. Alright, and the last one before I get off here, as you can probably hear, the baby is little Brianna is about to go apeshit on me, and she is not going to let me play. She wants some milk. She's got some, but I think maybe wants a little bit of dad's attention too. So we'll go real quick over the discard. I'll scroll through these so you can see all the descriptions real quick. We've got Sacrificial Vanguard because it's a discard deck. That's like the whole strategy. We're playing Tactical Advantage because we just want to be able to buff up one of these low-cost cards in round 1. Actually, I just played Tactical Advantage. Now that I'm looking at this list, it might be better to go with something else because there's nothing we really want to get out of removal range. So, I don't know. We will revisit that tomorrow. Maybe it's better to run the discard in case we get the blue coin. But, again, we'll go over that next time. We've got Dragon's Dream because I saw a couple people playing this in the beginning of the patch, and it's a pretty hilarious card. You can combo it with Ard, right here, Geralt Ard, and make a really explosive surprise round 3 play that'll just bury them. But I've been looking for a little bit, and I've seen some cards that I'm considering for this deck, so I need to make some changes. I'm undecided on what those are, but I'm going to go ahead and fill you in on the rest of it, just in case you want to try it out in the meantime. We got Wild Boar of the Sea. It's, I don't know why it has the Savage Bear picture here, but, I mean, it is a pretty savage card, so I guess that's fitting. Crow Mother also has the, what is this, Skirmisher picture here? Weird, okay. But Crow Mother, yep, staple for Skellige decks. Hjalmar and Crate were running because I wanted to run Skull as a round finisher early on, because this deck doesn't really function the same way as the other Skellige deck. Same faction, but they play totally differently. So this, ideally you want to finish off round 1 playing Skull when your opponent can't do anything about it, and then that 10 points just wins you the round, and then you have a 13-point play in Hjalmar for the second or third round, depending on whether you want to push. We have Vivian because people are playing scenarios right now, and personally I hate scenarios, but you know, to each their own. I ain't gonna hate on people that play them, though. If you play Scenario Caretaker, you're kind of the worst. But this will at least take care of one half of that Scenario Caretaker nonsense. We have Burn a Brand because we're playing Skellige discard. We have Coral because we're playing Skellige discard. Same with Morkvarg. These don't need explanations if you just look at what they do. They are Skellige discard cards. I'm trying to make sure that I look at the descriptions on these long enough for you guys to at least pause the video if you don't know what they do, because I know as a new player that is a huge problem for me whenever I'm watching a streamer and they just kind of go through everything and don't highlight the cards. I will often find myself not knowing what a card does. So, but if you have any feedback about the way I'm going through these, please let me know in the comments. We have Delirium and Giga Scorpion because they're just great cards. They're alchemy cards to bring Crow Mother back. Again, I feel like they're included in almost every Skellige deck because they end up being 10-point plays, and just having the 6-point removal card is pretty clutch a lot of the time. We have 2 Freya's Blessing. Freya's Blessing is just a great card also. We have 2 Jaime Scalds. I guess that's how that's pronounced. Draw a card and discard a card. Obviously in a discard themed deck, those are going to be good. Trophy catches are mainly in this deck to discard through Coral. Okay, so one of them is going to be a Coral discard target, ideally, and the other one can be discarded using your leader ability if the movement's not relevant, or you can use it if there's a defender that's about to stop you from making a game-winning play. We have 2 Stunning Blows and Savage Bears because, like I said earlier, I feel like these 2 are just Skellige cards right now that are going to be involved in just about every deck that Skellige has to offer. And then we have 2 Tirsiak Skirmisher. Again, weird word. I feel like I'm pretty good with pronunciations generally, but boy, this one's got me scratching my head. So we have 2 Skirmishers. When it's discarded, summon it from your graveyard to the melee row. So basically these are combined with Maze or your leader ability ideally, which you can use once around to throw an extra 3 points on the board and get you a free draw. For right now, those are the decks that I have. Sorry we only played 1 game, but I'm here with the baby solo tonight, so it's not the best night for me to stream. I just wanted to get a test video out and get some feedback. Let me know what you guys think. Again, I want to get a webcam. I'm going to, but I live in Honduras right now, so it's going to be a couple weeks before it gets here. But I wanted to start making YouTube content because my connection's finally good enough, and it's something I've been wanting to do for a long time. And I'm really passionate about Gwent, even though I only started playing it like maybe 6 weeks ago. I think it's the best card game on the market. So I'm going to upload some stuff to YouTube as well. But for right now, I am just making Twitch streams, and then we're going to go from there, one step at a time, right? Okay, well, I hope you guys have a good night. If anybody actually found themselves watching this video, I know probably not, but I appreciate any feedback any of you guys have. Take care.